Adbn News tonight. On our top stories, reps pass bill to establish state police. Federal government declares June 12 a public holiday. 2 ISWAP commanders surrender northeast. And on the foreign scene, Iran official warns U.S. would enter dark corridor if war resumes. In sport, Governor Derry sacks Bielsa United Football Club players. I am Princess. AKZ now is the details of the news. The Senate on Thursday approved a fresh extension of the implementation period for the capital expenditure component of the 2025 Appropriation Act, shifting the deadline from June 30 to September 30, 2026. The extension is aimed at ensuring the completion of ongoing capital projects and full utilization of funds already appropriated for their execution. This marks the second extension granted by the National Assembly this year. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had earlier indicated during the presentation of the 2026 appropriation bill that implementation of the 2025 budget would end on March 31, 2026 to pave the way for the smooth execution of the 2026 fiscal plan. However, lawmakers subsequently extended the deadline to June 30, 2026. Leading debates on the motion during plenary, Senate Chief Whip Senator Tahir Mangano Borno North explained that although significant funds have been released by the federal government, a large portion remained unspent due to procurement processes, project implementation timelines, and other administrative challenges.
That the 2025 Appropriation Act was enacted to provide funding for the implementation of government programs, projects, and activities aimed at promoting economic growth, infrastructure development, national security, and the welfare of Nigerians. Also note that despite substantial release made by the federal government to ministries, departments, and agencies for the execution of approved projects and programs, a significant proportion of the funds released remain unutilized due to procurement timelines, project implementation challenges, and other administrative processes.
Several senators who contributed to the debate backed the proposal, insisting that additional time was necessary to enable the completion of critical infrastructure projects across the country. They clarified that the extension applies only to the capital expenditure aspect of the 2025 budget and does not affect recurrent expenditure.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, you will recall that when the President appeared before the National Assembly to lay before the National Assembly the budget, he promised that 30% of the 2025 budget will be paid on or before March 31st of 2026, while the balance of 70% was transferred into the 2026 budget, which implementations is yet to commence.
In view of the need to sustain continued execution of the projects covered in the 2025 Appropriation Act as amended, I hereby second the motion ably moved by our Chairman of Appropriations Committee that we do extend to 30th September. I so support.
In his remarks, Senate President Godswill Akpabio described the extension as being in the national interest, noting that it would help ensure that projects captured in the 2025 Appropriation Act are delivered as intended.
Support that this budget be extended, the deadline be extended to 30th of September 2026. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The 2025 budget, earlier extended to 30th of June, is further extended to 30th of September 2026, according to the Senate's resolution. Let me thank distinguished Senator Mangunu for bringing this up, because payment would have stopped halfway if this was not done. So I congratulate you. I also congratulate the Chairman of Appropriation and all the concerned senators for bringing this to the fore.
With the approval, ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, as well as contractors handling projects funded under the 2025 budget will continue to access and utilize appropriated capital funds until September 30, 2026, even as implementation of the 2026 budget proceeds simultaneously. The Senate on Thursday declared the warrant of arrest issued against former Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, null and void, ruling that the action was not in accordance with established Senate rules and procedures. The decision followed a point of order raised by the Senate leader, Opeyemi Bamidele, who argued that the Senate Committee on Public Accounts lacked the authority to order the arrest of any government official or head of a public institution. Bamidele also took exception to comments allegedly made by Senator Adams Oshomole during the committee's proceedings, in which he reportedly stated that the NNPCL had no reputation left to protect. The Senate leader described the remarks as unprecedented and inconsistent with parliamentary standards.
Mr. President, Senate is also aware that during deliberations on the matter, comments were attributed to distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomhole, describing NNPC Limited as, quote, a bunch of criminals and thieves, unquote. Senate is also aware that the Senate, as an institution established under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is bound at all times to conduct its proceedings in accordance with the principles of natural justice, fairness, objectivity, parliamentary responsibility and decorum, and respect for the rule of law.
Senators supported Bamidele's position, maintaining that the NNPCL remains Nigeria's foremost revenue-generating enterprise and should not be portrayed in a manner capable of eroding public confidence in the organization. Speaking during the debate, Senator Orji Uzor said it was unacceptable to criminalize the NNPCL, describing the company as the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy. Similarly, Senator Tahir Mongono faulted the comments attributed to Oshomole, insisting that criticism of the institution should be measured and based on verified facts.
The leader have just shown that he's leader of the Senate, because it is not good for any committee or individuals to criminalize a big company like NNPC. It's unacceptable by all of us. It is not acceptable at all. I only want to add that the statement made by distinguished Senator, His Excellency Adams Oshomole, former governor of Edo State, is, with due respect, is reckless. And it is unfortunate because it undermines the integrity of not only the NNPC, but even the federal government of Nigeria.
Distinguished senators, being the highest lawmaking body of the country, it is inherently contradictory for us to, at one arm, purport to make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of the country, and on the other hand, seem to be flagrantly or violently violating the provisions of the very laws that we pass for the peace, order, and good governance of the country.
In his defense, Oshomole expressed disappointment that attention was being focused on his remarks rather than the substantive issues raised during the investigation. He argued that the committee's inquiry into allegations of over 210 trillion naira in unaccounted funds remained the central issue, and accused the NNPCL of showing disrespect to the Senate despite its status as one of the country's wealthiest public enterprises.
With regards to my use of the word thieves, I acted other provocation because your distinguished members were being attacked unjustly. And I thought I have a duty to defend all of us. Other extreme provocation that a man who cannot account for 107 trillion he claimed I deposited in various banks that have gone into liquidation. He did not name the banks. He did not name the amount. And the auditor said this is not correct. Not my opinion. That is the auditors.
Addressing the matter, Senate President Godswill Akpabio directed that the warrant to be set aside and assure lawmakers that the NNPCL will continue to discharge its statutory responsibilities.
Resolved to discountenance the purported warrant of arrest issued by the Senate Committee on Public Accounts on Malamele Kyari, former GMD of NNPCL, on Wednesday, 10th day of June 2026, and regard such as null and void. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes of it. Yes, additional prayer? No,
The House of Representatives has passed a landmark constitutional amendment bill seeking to establish state police across the country. In court, lawmakers describe as a major step towards addressing Nigeria's security challenges. The 18 clause proposal, one of the most debated amendments in the ongoing constitution review process, scaled third reading after securing the support of 289 lawmakers, while one member abstained during voting at plenary. Adbn's correspondent Laraba More reports.
Calls for state police have gained momentum in recent years as Nigeria continues to grapple with security challenges across different parts of the country. As consideration of the proposal began, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, stressed the need to prioritize measures aimed at strengthening security.
And let me also emphasize again that this bill has 18 clauses, 1 to 18, an explanatory memorandum, a long title.
The proposal has remained one of the most closely watched amendments in the ongoing constitution review process, attracting widespread attention from lawmakers and stakeholders across the country. Chairman of the House Committee on Constitution Review and Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu urged lawmakers to support the proposal, saying it will bring policing closer to communities and improve response to crime.
You and I knows because the centralized authorization point is at Abuja. It is difficult to get response as when due. But with state police, we are going to get our brothers to be able to monitor what is around us, people who understand the language, people who understand the geography, the culture, the religion, people who know us, protecting us. For me, it is best.
The 18-clause bill proposes the creation of state police to work together with the federal police. It also spells out how the new bill will operate, while also stating the requirements that state government will have to create its own laws before proceeding to start police services.
I will give you an instance. When we have this northern region before, we have local police. And this local police at that time were so effective because they are community-based. And also, at that time, you have constabulary police, which we call them Friday police at each market day. These are people that volunteer, to assist the police. They are given for police uniform, but the only difference is that you see that they have a green patch here, which shows that they are just, volunteers. But they do the work of the police. And why is it so? Because these people are so local, and they know that in certain occasions they have to be used because of the trunk of the people that are coming. So they have to assist the police because the number of the police will not be sufficient to control the crowd and the people that are coming into the town.
At the end of the exercise, 289 lawmakers voted in support of the proposal, while one member abstained. The overwhelming support paved way for the bill to be read for the third time and passed by the House of Representatives. The proposal will now proceed to the Senate as part of constitutional amendment process.
To provide for the establishment of state police and for related matters, and in so doing, approve the bill. And this bill is supported by ayes 289, nays 1, abstain 0, total 290.
From the National Assembly, Laraba Murray, Adbn News.
The House of Representatives has released the final draft of the 37 Constitution alteration bills ahead of voting during Thursday's plenary. The bills were selected from about 260 proposals under review and cover key areas including electoral reforms, judicial reforms, security, local government administration, inclusive governance, devolution of powers, human rights, and fiscal reforms. Among the major proposals is the creation of state police aimed at strengthening Nigeria's security framework through an additional layer of policing with defined powers and oversight. Other bills seek to introduce independent candidacy, establish an electoral offences commission, strengthen local government autonomy, and increase women's representation in governance. Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the House Committee on Constitution Review, Benjamin Carlo, described the draft's release as a major milestone, saying the proposal reflects extensive consultations with stakeholders nationwide. He said the amendments are designed to strengthen democratic governance, deepen federalism, enhance security, and improve the effectiveness of public institutions. Hundreds of Nigerians staged a peaceful walk in Abuja to protest rising insecurity as a call for greater national unity in the fight against terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping. The demonstrators, under the aegis of Concerned Nigerians for Peace, Security, and National Unity, said tackling insecurity requires a collective effort of government, security agencies, and citizens. The group urged Nigerians to discard political, ethnic, and religious differences and support efforts to restore peace while commending the sacrifices of security personnel across the country.
Our country has been overtaken by insecurity, and the only way out is by we uniting across party line, across political differences, across ethnic nationality, across anything you believe, religion, to fight insecurity, to fight the terror of insecurity. It is high time Nigeria understand that insecurity, it is not one man business. Insecurity is not the business of Mr. President alone. Insecurity is the business of all of us. Mr. President, we should also as well unite with former head of state that are still alive, former chief of service staff that are still alive, former IG of police that are still alive, former governors that have experienced insecurity in their state that are still alive, to find a way of getting us a lasting solution to insecurity.
We must all unite against insecurity, where we create an environment that bandits, kidnapping, Boko Haram is uncultural and is not part of ideology. We should all be seen speaking against insecurity. We should all be seen speaking against school abduction of the students. We should all be seen speaking against blocking the road and kidnap the travelers. We should all be seen speaking against any political parties, both you elected and non-elected officials, trying to take advantage of politicizing insecurity in the country. We must get Nigeria first. We must get Nigeria first. And in doing that, we must acknowledge the effort of our security operatives, those who died in service, those who sustained injury, and those who are still at the forefront of the war. We are with them both in spirit and prayers.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commissioned a newly completed Federal Highway 105 linking the airport expressway to Kuje Township in Abuja, declaring that his administration is committed to solving inherited challenges rather than abandoning projects. Represented by Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima at the commissioning ceremony, President Tinubu described the completion of the 6-lane dual carriageway as evidence of his government's determination to fulfilling promises made to Nigerians under the Renewed Hope agenda. FCT correspondent Naomi Olaribe has details.
President Tinubu recalled that the road project originally awarded in 2022 had been abandoned and had become a source of frustration for residents and businesses due to persistent gridlock, dust during the dry season, and flooding during the rainy season.
Beyond the concrete and asphalt, this project speaks to a larger vision. The Renewed Hope agenda is not just for the city center. True democracy must be felt at the grassroots. It must be felt in Kuje, and the commuter coming from or going to Kuje must feel it. Every Nigerian must feel it. This 6-lane dual carriageway we are commissioning today is indeed a game changer. You no longer have to endure the suffocating bottleneck that once characterized the Kuje Airport Road axis and the lost man hours.
Earlier, the FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike described the road as one of the most difficult projects undertaken by the administration, revealing that its completion required persistence, stakeholder engagement, and significant financial commitment.
We are very happy, Honorable Minister of State and myself and the entire FCT, to associate with you at this time that history is being made. We are changing the directive in the development of this city called Abuja. Nobody will want to live now in the city. From Kuje here down to the city, how many minutes? But before, to take you 1.5 hours, 2 hours to come to the city center. But see what the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and your humble self have.
The minister disclosed that despite being awarded in February 4th, 2022, at a cost exceeding 54 billion naira, work had stalled before the current administration intervened. Barrister Wike further revealed that the president is expected to return in July to commission the ongoing Kuje-Gwagwalada dual carriageway, another project aimed at transforming the area. Naomi Olaribe, Adbn News.
Federal government has commenced the evacuation of Nigerian nationals from the Republic of South Africa following a renewed incident of xenophobic violence targeting foreign communities. The special evacuation flight operated by Air Peace landed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos on Thursday morning at about 10:25 a.m., bringing home Nigerians affected by recent unrest in South Africa. The evacuees were escorted from Johannesburg by officials of the Nigerian mission led by Acting High Commissioner Ambassador Temitope Alexandra Ajayi. On arrival in Lagos, they were received by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikonlaye, who represented the federal government. He conveyed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's assurance about the safety, dignity, and welfare of Nigerians abroad remain a central pillar of Nigeria's foreign policy, stressing that no citizen should be subjected to violence or discrimination on the basis of nationality. The evacuation was coordinated by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria in collaboration with several government institutions, including agencies in aviation, health, immigration, humanitarian response, and national security. Diplomatically, the development highlights ongoing tensions that periodically emerge in Nigeria-South Africa relations, two of Africa's largest economies whose partnerships remain central to continental trade, migration, and political cooperation. While both countries continue to engage within the framework of the African Union and broader South-South cooperation, episodes of xenophobic violence have repeatedly tested trust and diplomatic sensitivity. The federal government has declared Friday, June 12, 2026, a public holiday to mark Democracy Day. In a statement, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Interior, Magdalene Ajani, says the declaration was made on behalf of the federal government by the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunjojo. The minister says June 12 remains a significant date in Nigeria's democratic journey and honors the sacrifices of those who fought for democratic governance. Tunjojo reaffirms the government's commitment to the rule of law, transparency, accountability, and inclusive governance. He urges Nigerians to use the occasion for civic reflection, national unity, and renewed commitment to democratic values. The Federal Ministry of Works says a concrete road constructed under the federal government's road infrastructure program helped avert a potential tragedy after an aircraft made an emergency landing in Delta State. The aircraft developed difficulties while attempting to land at Asaba Airport on Wednesday and eventually touched down on a concrete road near Ogwashuku, with all crew members escaping unhurt. In a statement, the Senior Special Assistant to the Ministry of Works and Media, Francis Mweze, said the incident highlights the importance of investing in durable infrastructure. He noted that the concrete paved road provided a stable surface during the emergency landing, helping to prevent what could have been a more serious outcome. Mweze added that the federal government has continued to promote the use of concrete pavement on major roads projects because of its strength and durability. He said the Delta incident demonstrates how quality infrastructure can enhance safety in unexpected situations, while aviation authorities continue investigations into the circumstances surrounding the landing. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB, says it has recovered and secured a cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder from the Bombardier Challenger CL-601 aircraft, registration N989BC, operated by VMO Aero Limited, which made the emergency landing at Asaba on Wednesday, June 10, 2026. In a statement, the Bureau says following the occurrence, it immediately activated its emergency response procedures, deployed a GO team, also known as investigative team, to the site near Asaba, Delta State, and commenced an investigation into the incident involving the private aircraft that landed and subsequently departed from a roadway during a flight from Lagos to Asaba. Director General of the NSIB, Captain Alex Bade Jr., said investigative activities are ongoing and will include analysis of the recovered flight recorders, examination of technical and operational records, interviews with relevant personnel, and review of additional evidence. The Bureau urged members of the public who witnessed the occurrence or possess photographs, videos, CCTV footage, or other relevant information to contact NSIB through its official social media channels. The need to strengthen responses towards intimate partner violence and gender-based violence as a pathway to enhancing the fight against HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria has been emphasized. Stakeholders at the National Consultative Workshop on IPV-GBV programming in Nigeria, with participants drawn from relevant ministries like Justice, Health, Women's Affairs, National Human Rights Commission, and donor funders, identified the gaps and highlighted areas where more has to be done. Head of HIV Global Fund, Izukanji Simzue, sheds more light on the scope of the challenges.
There are key structural and social barriers that make it hard for us to reach epidemic control for HIV. And one of those key barriers is around gender-based violence and intimate partner violence. The Global Fund is partnering with the government of Nigeria, the federal government of Nigeria, through the federal and state institutions, as well as working with community here in Nigeria to figure out ways in which we can address issues of gender-based violence and intimate partner violence that scale up rates of new HIV infection or inhibit individuals from accessing HIV care.
What is important here today is that how do we link activities that are for gender-based violence to prevent and to help survivors report and to improve the situation, how this programming and this funds can be integrated with the work that we're doing on HIV.
The United Nations Development Programme Gender Lead, Onyinye Ndubisi, highlighted the significance of the consultations to the success of the GC8 funding circle.
When a woman goes to the hospital for antenatal, one of the tests that is done is HIV test. And the moment she gets the positive test, there's this fear to speak. She begins to think, how did this happen? She's even afraid to talk to her spouse or her partner, whoever it is. And that alone makes her to avoid certain places. That alone puts fear in her on how her journey would be. And most times we see that there are no communications because she's afraid to speak to her spouse. And even when she does, eventually, most women attempt to be unfaithful or cheat or irresponsible mothers. But that shouldn't be. So for us, this workshop is not just a sit and go. It's a time to reflect on opportunities, to look at how we can begin to program our rights around intimate partner violence.
Key priorities of the GC8 identified include intimate partner to violence identification, first-line support and care, post-rape care amongst others, targeted at reducing gender-related vulnerabilities and barriers to HIV, tuberculosis, and malaria services. Nigeria's tertiary education sector is recording fresh gains in research and innovation, with the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, awarding a total of 174 research grants worth 7.5 billion naira to individuals and research teams across the country. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, the Executive Secretary of TETFund said the grants cut across critical sectors, including health and social welfare, natural resources, science and engineering, power and energy, as well as education and human capital development. He noted that the intervention is aimed at supporting homegrown solutions to national challenges through research.
The fund will soon commence and will announce through the media, as well as the various academic platforms that we have for the 2026 grant cycle. We encourage all researchers in the country to take advantage of that opportunity to express interest and to participate on the assurance that they will go through a process that is transparent, because there is inbuilt in it a feedback system that enables you to prepare better for subsequent attempts. We have a database of all researchers and all researches that are taking place in this country, so that potential investors, people who want to also promote or even develop these products into prototypes and into actual goods and services can do that. That episode will also include pitching sessions.
A breakdown of the awards shows that the Federal University of Technology in Minna recorded the highest number of successful grants with 18 awards, followed by the Federal University of Technology Ori with 11 grants. Ahmadu Bello University secured 10 grants, while the University of Ilorin recorded 8 successful applications, and some other universities as well as polytechnics across the country underscoring the growing research capacity of Nigerian universities. Away from that, Governor Abdullahi Saleh has approved the proposed medical and dental bonding scheme for indigenous medical students in Nasarawa State, describing it as a strategic solution to the shortage of healthcare professionals and a pathway to strengthening the state's health sector. The governor gave the approval when he received members of the Nassau State Medical and Dental Students Association on a courtesy visit at the government house last year. He said the initiative aligns with his administration's efforts to retain skilled medical personnel and improve healthcare delivery across the state.
Come in actually with this idea that you are now the one proposing the burden for us. I will tell you I approve, if that is what you are. What is telling me is that you have bought our idea and now you have owned the idea. You are the one now selling the idea to us, so it will be a win-win situation. We will also, one is an automatic employment for you the moment you graduate from the university.
Governor Selene said that Nassau now boasts tertiary healthcare institutions across its 3 senatorial districts, including the Federal Medical Center, KEFI, the Teaching Hospital in Lafayette, and the Specialist Hospital in Akwanga, creating opportunities for young doctors to acquire professional experience while serving the state. President of the Nassau State Medical and Dental Students Association, Simon Shada, commended the governor for his investment in healthcare infrastructure and medical education. He appealed for support towards implementing the bonding scheme, which would assist indigenous medical students during training while ensuring they return to serve the state after graduation.
Bonding scheme is a strategic initiative already being practiced successfully in several states across Nigeria. The initiative will greatly increase the number of indigenous doctors and healthcare professionals serving in our hospital and communities. With these schemes, National State can intentionally build a future healthcare worker that includes specialists in areas where there are currently shortage.
Governor, the students also sought government support for their forthcoming Health Week and other educational programs aimed at promoting healthcare awareness and academic excellence among young people in the state. Governor Sule assured them of government support and urged them to remain committed to giving back to society through their profession. And now to some security. Troops of Operation Adbn have recorded another success in the fight against terrorism with the surrender of 2 high-profile ISWAP commanders in the northeast. The suspects, identified as Ismail Mohammed and Abu Umar, turned themselves in following sustained military operations across terrorist hideouts. According to a statement by the acting media information officer, Headquarters Joint Task Force Operation Adbn, Lieutenant Colonel Harun Hassani says the 2 men held influential positions within the insurgent group and operated around the Lake Chad area. One of the men was said to have close links to the group's leadership, while the other played a critical role in the production and maintenance of explosive devices. Lieutenant Colonel Hassani further disclosed that a senior member of the ISWAP Shura Council, Mohammed Khalifa, was eliminated during recent joint operations carried out by troops and their partners. This development is expected to weaken the group's command structure further. Operation Adbn says the latest surrender highlights the impact of continuous military pressure on insurgent elements. The military reaffirmed its determination to sustain operations aimed at dismantling terrorist networks and restoring peace to communities affected by insurgency. You're watching Adbn News at 7. Stay with us as we bring you more stories after this break. Welcome back to the news. The Edo State government says it is strengthening key sectors of the state through new measures aimed at improving transportation, enhancing security, and addressing environmental challenges. During a press briefing in Benin City, Commissioner for Security and Public Safety, Honorable Festus Ebia, Commissioner for Transport, Honorable Welekwe Iden, and the Commissioner for Information, Communication and Strategy, Honorable Kasim Afebwa, highlighted recent development and ongoing interventions across their ministries.
I decided to call them so that it won't be a matter of ritual that you'll be hearing from my mouth always, things that are happening. We are open to criticism. Like I used to tell you, and I will still repeat, please, we welcome constructive criticism, not deliberate falsehood, not lies. Edo State government is not owing any teacher. Let it be on record that we are proud that we have a governor who is developing every aspect of Edo.
On security, the Commissioner for Security and Public Safety said the government has expressed concerns over the negative use of social media, urging residents to avoid spreading information capable of creating fear and worsening insecurity.
A few days ago, after the heavy downpour, I saw some social media people posting Edo is shining, flood everywhere, but they have forgotten the road is under huge construction with deep gutters on both sides, but they will not tell you that Edo is now a construction site. They would rather speak on the negative side. Influence of social media towards promoting insecurity in our dear state. From our security lenses, we have found out that some of our youths now keep Fulani herdsmen and the terrorists in their houses and point out to them where there is business to do.
For transport, brave journalists of the arrival of 100 CNG-powered buses, saying the buses will be distributed across the 18 local government areas of the state. Adding the plans are in motion to establish more CNG stations to support the new transport system and provide easier access to clean energy.
Since my assumption in office, a number of strategic policies have been introduced and currently being enforced across the state. The first is the ban on the use of unpainted commercial vehicles within Edo State. This policy was introduced to ensure uniformity, proper identification, and regulation of commercial transport operators. And so far, we have achieved over 80% of the implementation of this policy. The ministry has also commenced the profiling of commercial vehicles operating within the state.
The government says the interventions are part of ongoing efforts to create a safer and more sustainable Edo State. Moving on, the Enugu State government has signed grant agreements with 4 renewable energy developers to provide electricity to the rural communities of Obatu, Ubakwa, Agunta, and Ijabe through solar mini-grid projects. The initiative, supported by the Nigerian Energy Support Program, the European Union, and the German Development Agency, will deploy mini-grids with a minimum capacity of 200 kilowatts in each community. Chairman of the Enugu State Electricity Regulatory Commission, Mr. Chijioke Okonkwo, said the projects are funded through an in-kind grant covering 80% of costs, while developers will provide the remaining 20%. He noted that the communities are among 113 underserved and unserved communities identified by the state government for electrification, and said the project could be completed within 6 months. Representing Governor Peter Mbah, the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Chidebere Onya, described the project as part of the administration's drive to boost economic growth and attract investment through improved infrastructure. GIS and ESPs, Mr. Joshua Garba commended Enugu's progress in electricity sector reforms, while Sea Solar Energy Limited CEO Mr. Chibweze Eke said about 8,000 residents across the 4 communities would benefit from reliable electricity. The Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) says work on the Okrika-Borikri Road and Bridges project in River State will accelerate following the payment of compensation to property owners affected by the project alignment at the Borikri axis. Correspondent Innocent Mite completes the reports.
Speaking during an inspection of the project site in Okrika, NDDC Assistant Director of Utility, Infrastructure Development and Waterways, Engineer Martins Isichie, confirmed that compensation for affected properties owners had been settled. According to him, residents along the Borokri alignments are expected to evacuate the area to enable the demolition of structures in the project's right-of-way and pave the way for construction activities. ECJ noted that work has progressed significantly on the Okrika axis despite the challenges, including the collision of vessels within an existing bridge pipe, which necessitated a redesign of part of the structure.
The work in progress is impressive to me because we've had a lot of encumbrances, and gradually we're sorting them out, and the people around are seeing exactly what is going on. We're working, even though we have not been able to charge to full capacity, but the little things that will hinder us from getting things done, we've already started doing them.
Consultant engineer Azuchukuma said the revived project had been reviewed to address current realities, while the constructor engineer Marau Kasuf disclosed that preparations were underway for the launching of the beams.
We have succeeded in making a total of 408 beams. So if we're under the bridge, I'll be asking your cameras to look at what the beam is, so for the benefit of those who do not know yet. So we have completed the making, the casting, and the launching of 408 beams. So that's taking us in terms of beams from the car end to the Ataba end for this first bridge. And then out of a total of 68 spans.
We are the contractor executing this bridge from Borokiri side to Okrika. We have started from Okrika side because at Borokiri you have some compensation to be paid. And the good thing, NDDC has paid it like 1 month ago, and they gave notice 2 months for people to evacuate their places. So once they evacuate, we'll start from this side and from the other side. From this side, as you have seen, we have started doing beams, piling, pile caps, and then we are planning to launch the 5 spans in less than 1 month, hopefully, so we can start from this side. Also, we have scarcity of land in this area. You know, to get the land along this water side is not easy.
Community representative described the project as strategic, noting that it would ease traffic congestion, provide an alternative route to Port Harcourt, and stimulate socio-economic development across the affected communities.
So far, so good. This community, we have Ogoloma, we have ATC, we have Okoshiri, we have other Ebaka and all the rest. They are in support of this project. They are waiting for the day they will launch, they will climb, they will drive to Borokri, to Okrika. We are giving them 100% peace. No problem, no commotion, nobody can come and say, this. Everybody is just praying to the work, for the work to move forward and
so fast.
So we are very happy. We even need it more seriously to cross this bridge for us, because as far as it's a help to us, we need them very, very urgently, please.
The 3.75-kilometer project comprises 3 bridges: the 180-meter Kolabi Bridge at the Echie waterfront, the 1,120-meter Abuturu Bridge, and the 490-meter Okbuka Bridge, linking Okrika and Port Harcourt local government areas. Innocent Mwite, ADBN News.
And now to foreign stories. In Iran, Mohsen Razai, military advisor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mujtaba Khamenei, says negotiations between US and Iran are at a deadlock. The government official told newsmen that a potential peace deal between the United States and Iran hinges on the Trump administration agreeing to release $24 billion in frozen Iranian assets, warning that the U.S. would enter into a dark corridor should fighting resume. He said the ball is in Trump's court. Iran has reportedly demanded the release of $12 billion in frozen funds as soon as an interim agreement is signed with the U.S. and another $12 billion at a later stage, while U.S. officials are concerned that any unfreezing of funds at the stage could remove a key leverage point over the regime. And then in sport, Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doyediri has dissolved the board of Bayelsa United Football Club and sacked all the players, including the technical crew, following the team's relegation from the Nigeria Professional Football League (NPFL) to the Nigerian National League (NNL). Governor Duri decided after the Yenagoa-based club suffered relegation despite receiving substantial financial support from the state government throughout the season. He directed that the dissolution take immediate effect as preparations begin for a comprehensive restructuring of the club ahead of its participation in the Nigeria National League next season. A new management team is expected to be appointed in the coming days, with the state government determined to rebuild the club and secure an immediate return to the top flight. It will be recalled that Bayelsa United finished the 2026 Nigeria Premier Football League season second from bottom with a paltry 43 points from 38 matches. And that's all we have for you tonight on the news. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channel 258, on Star Time channel 140, Evo TV app, Limex World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website at www.adbntv.com. You can also watch us from every part of the world by logging on to www.adbntv.com/live. I am Princess Ekeze. Good evening and thanks for watching.